Evening all, well, it's here, it's finally out, it's arrived. This post should be basically directing you. You probably are already on this post, you've already clicked it, you've already got it working, and you're like, what am I watching a video for? Fair point. This is going to be a walkthrough of how to get your wonderful, splendid, fabulous invention and selling tool up and running. There's more coming. This is just the quickest one that we were able to get done. And you have to remember, we're incompetent at most things. Treble and I are like just not very good. So this has taken just monumental effort to even get it to a point where it doesn't fry your computer. By the way, I'm not accountable for any damage to your computer. And it won't damage your computer. Why am I even saying this? Why am I even talking about this? Let's not talk myself into a box. Let me show you how to do this. So you come in and basically double click this. This should then open up the Excel. There is an intro page here which just gives you, I mean, we had to put licensing stuff in because that's it, but I don't care. You share it as far and wide as you like. Maybe just give a wink and a nod to Squad B and good old CEO Pyrex if you do. And if you go on to make an incredible, amazing kind of empire from this, well, you can buy me a pint down the pub. What you do is you start at the intro. Now, everything that we're going to go through now is clearly marked in the instructions. So don't worry, and you can always pause and move this video around. But every page should have white boxes. White boxes are there to help you. I'm not going to go through each kind of prescriptively, but I'll give you the spirit of what we're going to do. The very first thing I'd recommend is if you've never seen this before and you're like, Excel, Eve, plugin, what? I would recommend going to this link. First thing that you'll probably know is it'll ask you, do you want to trust this document? That's entirely up to you. The only reason it's asking you that is because these are external links, okay? And I'll talk you through what they are. You don't need to trust the document. You can just ignore these and even delete them, and then it'll never ask you again. So that's just what that is. So don't worry if you think I'm trying to hack you. I am not. I am literally incapable of opening a tin of beans without cutting myself. The first thing to do is, if you haven't got the eveonline plugin, you see up here we've got the eveonline plugin. So you want to come to browse add-ins. So this then takes you to the store, and then I'm just hoping it will work. It might give you some details here and there. Let's just see, can we move that? There we go. So if you just do eveonline, eventually it should come up with CCP here. There we go. So that's what you're looking for. So hopefully that was clear. So I just typed in the search bar at the top, add-ins, browse add-ins, and then I did eveonline in the apps, and then you just click this, and then it takes you through. And look, there's even the video on how to do it. I don't even need to worry about the link that I couldn't give you just then. But basically what this does is it gives you the ability to download it and add. And once you've added it, you will see this wonderful box appear here. Now we move on to step 2, which is logging into your Eve accounts and doing this. Now I'm going to hope I don't literally display all of my passwords here. So already, because I've done this, I'll just add CEO Pyrex. So here you can see I've already done this, so it knows that I've done it before. So just by clicking that, you authorize it, and then you now have a character here. Let me show you it just one more time if I switch user. So I know that the one that I want to add, I know I'm very vain. I think it's that. No. That one, there we go. Not now. So this case, I'm going to add my trader alt. Now there is a bit of a conversation about trader alts, but we'll come to it. So in our little kind of step process here, we've downloaded the file. There's a video for it, and we've shown you how to log in to the point where you now have characters here. That's it. That's the hardest bit. I think everything else, well, there's maybe one or two things that we need to just talk about, but everything else I would say is relatively simple from this point forward. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're now going to move and zoom in a tad onto the main page. Now the way I do all of my Excel stuff, this is even when I work kind of in my job, is I always have kind of like a data sheet, because data sheets are just easier to put all your data in one place, and then everything kind of refers and flows back to it. Okay, so this is why this sort of 0.intro is always to me like a main data tab. That's what I would generally call it. So in this case, we've given some kind of quick narrative as to really what we're signposting you to do. if you do read things, it helps. Please do read things, because what we're saying is anywhere orange is where you're going to drop the character card, and then everything should work from there. Let's try it. Let's see if we are literally any good at QA. So the first thing you're going to try and do is put it there. Don't do that, because that's just an example. You see, I've even put the word example. You want to basically put them in these slots here. And what I've done is included main alt, trader alt, and then any other alts that you want to include. I think we've given you up to 8 spaces, but again, you can add more. There's a few known issues, and we'll come back to them. One of them is the spill issue, which we'll probably see as we do this, but we'll go for it. So what you do is you select the box that you want to basically create as your card for your main character. In this case, CO Pyrex. You go to the Functions tab, and you see we have an array of choices, a plethora of choices, more choice than literally the IKEA hot desk. But my view is character card is the only one you need. So you click character card, and then what it does is it punches up some information to do with what corp you're in, your mugshot, your corp shot, and then some information that is actually incredibly useful, such as your character ID, the very important. So that's where it is. So if I talk about character ID, that's where I'm talking about. Your corp ID, again, very important when we do some of these calculations. And then where your home station is. Now, if you do manufacturing away from your home station, you need to put the home station number in here, okay? Now, finding your home station, I could show you how we do that. So in the character card here, you see we hover over it, it gives us a little pop-up. If I come to show data type card, it brings up a little card. Now you can see here that number there, 2071, is different to the one that I'm currently sat in, because CO Pyrex is sat in G244. So you can see G244 code is 3760 for those that need it. So if I come to here, literally I can see I'm in the wonders of a guitar. So that's how that works. If you have a trader role, now you can do the same again. So function, character card, boom, hopefully that works. Come on, hopefully that works. Come on, it's a bit slow. So there we go. So same again, character cut number, the squad should be the same, the number is the same for the corp, and you see here the home station is also the same. It's, you know, we're going to pull other things. Currently we're working on pulling which station, the name of the station that you're in, or rather home station, and the current picture of the home station, and then we're going to do here where you are currently, but we just ran out of time. We couldn't figure that out. If you know how to do that, tell us, but we struggled to turn that number into a name and a picture. So for now, don't worry, but if you know, post in the Discord and so on. So that's it. So from this point forward, we are basically done with that, so we can close that panel, and we're pretty much ready to go for the rest of the book. So let's just walk through what we should see now. Character restock. Well, when you first come to this, you'll note we put some very clear signposting in here to say, look, read this, because this is for people who do industry in their own hangars. They don't use corporation assets. If you produce, I'm reading it literally, if you produce using corp hangars, use the 1B corp restock tab. So what you would do in this is, if that's all you do, then you would just delete this and be about your business, okay? We're going to jump straight to the corp restock one, because this is one that we will use. So I read that. Again, it's just telling me the other way around. So if I don't use corp and I use personal, you need to use... Oh, hang on. It's not telling me that, is it? Cool. Well, it's basically telling me just use the other one. So we can delete that. Now, there are some instructions. So again, here we can just see some simple kind of instructions of how to set this up. So there's a couple of things you have to do in Eve, which is to bind a multi-by key, but we'll do that literally live in a moment. But let's just test, are we working? So yes, it's working. You can see my ugly mug there. It's pulled everything through. We shouldn't necessarily have to do any of the core data here. It's pulled through various information that's not particularly useful. There's some stuff that's static. Orange just denotes that it's static. I've just typed that in. We're working on that. But you see it's pulled through my home station ID, and it's pulled through my corp ID and my character ID. Very important. Because then what it does is we have set it so that it will do, this is the restock automator, right? So this is designed for you to give a kind of notional stock level that you want for everything, really. Anything to do with invention, manufacturing and so on. You can add to this as well, because I'll show you in just a moment how to do that. You can see we have an error here, a spill, and that's because currently, if I come here, I'm probably going to find that we have a lot of interesting. Where am I? Oh, that's in G2 as well. I'm going to find that we have a lot of corporation deliveries because, oh no, hang on, what is the problem here? Let's just see. So modules. So basically what it's showing me is there's too much pyrite. So there's pyrite there. Where else am I seeing pyrite? Let's just do PUY. No, pyrite. I am bemused. That should not be showing. Basically, I'm trying to show you basically why you get spills. It's because you have more than one stack in multiple of the hangars. Why would I have hangars of pyrite? I'm a bit confused. Pyrite. No. Okay. I don't know where that's coming from. So we're just going to jump back and treat that as a bug. So there's definitely a bug because you can see what it's doing is it's actually finding all that. In fact, let's just do a quick thing. Let's just do a quick refresh. So Control Alt F9 does a full refresh of this. Now bear in mind you have, I think it's something like 450 market calls a day that CCP allow you to do. So just bear that in mind. So because this is why things like the market tool for Jita we're going to release separately, because you probably will run that once a day and then you'll cap out. So we've separated this so that you can run it multiple times. There's usually about 30 minutes to an hour delay on certain things as well, which we'll come to. But anyway, what you see here is you list what you want to track. So you see here I've just typed in, these are just typed in, and then this will detect what it is and then basically create what we would call the asset card. Okay, so you see that, and it then creates a market card, so it can pull from that the market card. What's the difference? Market card has a set of different values. So you can see here, if I just come to that, it's telling me things like prices, mass and so on. The asset card is just showing me, in this case, my ownership of this particular asset. Okay, clear? No? Okay, never mind. Don't worry, you don't need to worry too much about it. What you do need to do is adjust the stock. So the stock is probably the most important one to do, because this will then create a gap. So you see in this case, I want 10 million titanium. Because of my wonderful freelance contracts, I have 51 million now. So therefore, I don't need to buy any titanium. But for Mexilon, for example, I want 500,000 and I only have 20,000. So let's just verify that. And this is when I find out it doesn't work, because lol. Let's just scroll down. So 20,000. So all of this is live. It should be broadcasting to the Excel sheet that I need in this case to buy that much. Okay, that's how it works. And what it does is it then creates a buy statement. So what's the point of a buy statement? Well, it's going to give me some information that I can just copy paste into Excel, into Eve, and then immediately buy all these things. So it means I don't have to go around looking for it. I can just say, I know to invent, I use this. I can moderate that. So if you find that you've just always got way too much Mexilon or Megasite or something, you can drop this down. So you could put 10,000. So you see then it changes our little buy order there, which is great. No, I won't do that because I actually do use Megasite. So in this case, we definitely need that. So what you can then see is the market card, the average price, the cost to buy, roughly. Again, it's a rough estimate. The volume of each material, and then the size. And this is all aggregated up to here, which gives you the cost to buy. So I don't know if you can see that, 851 million. Now that is average. It probably will be a lot more than that. And then the volume to move it. So in this case, I know one transport ship can do this. It then spreads the area, so you can see really what is the restock. Obviously Moon Goop tends to be quite expensive. Planet Tech is getting really expensive, but anyway, there we go. And then what you do is you have to now come into Eve and you have to bind a key, which is multi-buy. So you see that I don't have a shortcut for this at the moment. So what I tend to do is I do, is it Alt M, I think it is. Cancel, let's try that again, Alt M. No, maybe it's Control M. There we go, Control M. Okay, so return to game, Control M. Boom. So that's what we now want. Okay, so I'm going to jump to my market alt because this is who I buy everything from. See, I already have that bound like your mum on a Friday night. And if I scroll down, we can then buy things. So Bear in mind, I have things like decryptors and components in here as well. I tend not to buy components. I also have the tech one as well, which is just a massive spill at the moment. But again, for yours, it may not be, because if you have a single stack, you might be fine. So I don't actually buy parts. I do tend to buy everything from sort of decryptors upwards. So I'm just going to do copy. So you see I've copied all of that. And then I come to my trader alt, and then I just see the little icon here, add items from the clipboard, because I've obviously copied them to the clipboard. And then bish bash bosh, goodness me, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Why not? There you go. 852. Yeah, that's pretty accurate, wasn't it? What was it saying? 851. There you go. I'll take that. I'd buy that for $1. And then basically you just click buy, and now it bought everything, and it's wanged it in our deliveries hanger, ready for the wonderful Mr. Pyrex to pick up and then get ganked as he flies back. So boom, there we go. Simple, right? That very handy, very useful. We then have a market tool, okay, which then just shows me currently all of my market tools that are open. So you see all market orders. We have 600 mil of sell orders and 1.2 of buy orders. We're only buying Metanox because they were a good deal. Let's see if they still are. Not great. It's getting worse day by day. So if we look here, we can see that that's obviously been reflected. So again, we didn't have to do anything. It's pulling through the corporation buy and sell orders. It's telling us what we're trying to buy or sell, the price that currently is being sold at. If it's a buy order, and then total for sale. So it then works out the revenue that we would have or rather the revenue would gain from selling it versus the cost of buying it. And you can see there we have just a little graphic there. So that's the simple one. You don't have to do too much there. We now move on to the second part of the tool, which is then the multi-sale, which I think is probably the more useful one, if I'm honest. But this one I think is quite nice. Now, unfortunately, it requires one change if you don't use the same alt. So you see here, I have CO Pyrox basically sat in Jita, and this is what CO Pyrex has in its hanger in Jita, which is not correct because I use Trader General. So in this case, all we have to do, pay attention, if you do have a different alt, is you see here it says, equals, 0.intro D9 is we just do equals, and then we come to intro, and then we just change it to the trader alt one there, because currently it's reading that box. We're going to change it to this box. Click return. Hopefully it updates. Give it a second. Bish blash blosh. There we go. So hopefully that made sense, because that's a big change of what you have to do if you use a different alt. So you see here it's doing the market call. It's literally doing all of our update for all of our lovely luscious tech 2. Oh, we have a bit of a error here. Let's just fill that in. That's my apologies. Again, I have a lot to sell at the moment. If you do have more, you can just copy it down. So what does this do? What this basically does is it sniffs the hanger of Trader General, in this case my selling alt. So you see here it's basically detecting all of this here. Okay, nice and simple. It's basically able to read that. Now there is a delay, so if you give this character all of this stuff and then come to Excel immediately, it won't refresh. It's like the assets tab. You remember the assets tab in this wonderful game that we play? Wrong one. Have I broken it? Oh, I'm on days. Hang on. There we go. If I come to my assets tab here, this thing, there is a delay. So you know that there's a delay of 20 minutes to an hour, something like that. I don't know what it is, but there is the same delay here in terms of the database then broadcasting out through the API to Excel to say, hey guys, this is what Trader General has in their hanger. Bear that in mind. There's a few things to really call out here. Now, if you have errors on this page, it's going to be to do with the character ID, the corp ID, or something like this. So for this particular calculation, I think this one, it needs to know the region ID. Now, what's the region ID? Well, it's a very complicated thing. Luckily, I know that for this particular region where we are, which is, I forget, where are we? Is it the Forge? Yes, I knew that. It needs to know that code. Now, the code for the Forge is that number, 00000002, okay? And if you don't have that, you're gonna have a bad time. So what you need to basically do is, if you're selling in Amar or Dodixie, or is it Hex? I forget the name. Heck, rather. You can tell I don't sell in Mimitar space much. You need to know the region code. And if you don't know the region code, you're going to have to go find it, okay? I literally just Googled this. Or I think I asked Copilot, actually, and it just told me it, which is amazing. So that's the only, so you see I've highlighted it because that's basically the big one. And station ID as well is going to be key, but it should know that from where your alt is, okay? So you see that's pulling from the location thing, which is for this character, is somewhere. I guess it's in here. So if I come into the card, we should see the location is there. So you see, it actually will always know where you are. So as long as you're docked, ready to sell, it will know to pull that through. Oh, still with me? Still comfortable? Happy? Want to slice the quiche? Good. This thing is basically the same as what you've just seen, but what it's doing is pulling through the asset. If you have it in multiple stacks, it will give you the spill error. So just make sure you stack everything. You rationalize everything to a single stack. It then pulls through the cost. I'll just show you how it works, so if you're interested. So it'll give you a market card for this. So it tells you the average price, the adjusted price, base price, and so on. And it gives you a whole wealth of information. It then tells you the market position currently. So what is currently. We then have, more importantly, sell order statistics, which is then pulled through to here. So the sell order statistics will then just show the max, the median, and the min. Okay, so the highest, the middle price, the average middle, and then the lowest price, the number of orders, and so on. So and then volume is obviously the volume of what's being sold. Currently, this is pulling through. Let's just do Gatling autocannon 2s. It's pulling through that the current sales price is 478,800. So let's just test that. So if I go to, let's just do 125 railguns. Do I have any of them for sale, actually? Let's have a quick look. Maybe I don't. Yes, I do. So currently this is 545,200. 545,200. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. Good. So that's working, right? We currently have. All right. So this is the tricky bit. So this is how many we have to sell in our hangar. We then have a markdown. Now this is where there's a bit of a problem, because the markdown has some logic built into it that says if this number is over a certain number, then the way that the markdown works in the game is it does it in units of 1,000. If it's under 1,000,000 like that, it does it in units of 100. And if it's under, I think, 10,000, it does it in unit of 10. And if it's under 100, it does it in unit of 1. Because I couldn't be bothered to do all that, I've just basically set it to do above 1,000,000 or below 1,000,000. Okay, nice and simple. So basically that's how it should work. If for ammo, you're going to have a bit of a problem. I sell ammo separately. We will work on a version 2 that does sell ammo a bit better, but feel free to play with this, because this is just a simple if statement that if you wish to, you could put a multi-conditional if statement in. I just didn't get round to do it. So in this case, we have 20 railgun 2s, whatever they are, 125mm railgun 2s. Therefore, if we take the lowest price and just knock 100 off it, we're selling them at 545,100. Therefore, that gives you as about 11 million of revenue. Okay, and then what we do, same as before, we just copy the whole thing here. We might have a few errors, just need to bear in mind. Oh, see, there you go, Nova Fury. I just have set it so it doesn't appear because I don't want it to appear. I can copy stuff that I'm not selling in here as well. So I think I've got like station warehouse containers. You can just copy it all because you're not going to tell the game you're selling them. So as long as you don't click that to sell it, you'll be fine. So I'm going to sell the ammo and crystals separately, highlight everything, click sell items, 104 items. In the before times, can you imagine how long that took to do? It would be like an afternoon of work. Look, 30, 40. It's just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like 101 flipping items. And I don't know how many in total in number. I mean, I think the actual sheet will tell me how many there is. So if I go to the top of here, we're selling. Oh, no, it doesn't. Right, let's just add that. Oh no, because it's going to capture ammo, isn't it? Never mind. But we're selling, let's just say, a flipping lot. And because we've done the copy paste of the sheet, let's just do it again, because I think I might have just cleared it by doing that. So again, just highlighting that, copy, Control C, come to my computer, and then here we have import prices from clipboard. Now, if you're If you're German or French, your decimals and points are different way around. Don't ask me why, I have no idea. Someone post in the comments as to why that is, because it's a wonderful, exciting thing I found working internationally, is that Excel spreadsheets from my German friends was always very difficult to understand because their dots and commas are the other way around. We use decimal. So you see we did that. Anything that's in there that's just not included, we can ignore that. And hopefully you saw what it did then. So I'm just going to go through that process again because I want to be very clear. Sell items. Again, it'll be quicker this time because it already knows it. Bish, bash, bosh. So we know that currently selling at whatever it is, the current buy, I think it's the current best buy order. If we then put in our price point, there we go, 300 million we just made. Click sell. Oh, that was easy. Oh, it didn't sell everything. That's interesting. Why did it not sell everything? We'll have a look at that. I don't know why I didn't sell that, but there we go. So we can see that our sell orders have gone there, so we're pretty golden. The sheet won't update automatically, annoyingly. There might be a cap. I just realized there's probably a cap because it didn't do 4 items, did it? Interesting. So there might be a limit of 100 each time, in which case, fair enough. It's unlikely you'll have 100 different items every time because I do this every day, basically. And that's it. The final thing is the ID grabber. So if you really don't know certain IDs of things, you can just come here and type it in and it'll give you the ID. It's doing this from pulling a very long list of type IDs. I will give full credit and thanks to the people that provided that because that's somebody else's work. I just literally pulled into here. Thank you for doing that. I will give you full credit for that. And basically that's it. So this is the sheet. This is how it works. Hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions, join the Discord and ask. If you have any bugs or errors, then just tell us. We'll add them here. So just the 2 to call out is a spill. So if you have a spill, that's because basically you've got more than one stack of the thing. You can see the example there. And there is an update. So you can only have so many updates every day. So bear that in mind. If you are cut off, it will come up with a little icon here, a little warning here to say you've made too many calls to the server. I only generally get it with the market tool, which looks at the best things to buy in Jita. That caps out every time. Generally, everything quite fine. And plus, you have to sometimes wait quite a while for the things to come through. So I have gone to Jita many times, given my trader all the bits, come to then use the tool to find out it doesn't work. I have to wait like an hour and then it works. So I know it sucks, but that's just the game. They can't have literally thousands and people basically, doing market calls. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed that. Post in the comments anything that you find, and yeah, please do enjoy it. And any support you would like to share for this wonderful bit of work, then the Patreon is there for you. It's free. This tool is free, but obviously if you're feeling generous, be generous. But we don't expect it. Please only do it if you feel any desire to do it. Don't do it if you can't afford it. We love you very much. Please post what you think would be the next good logical step for this tool, because we are actually evolving it now to version 2, and we're excited to hear what maybe you'd like to see in it. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.